In 2012, I discovered this idea of teaching online classes and put together my first one, teaching exactly what I knew and was passionate about, video editing. And that I put on udemy.com because that was the first place I had heard that anyone could teach online. And luckily, it made a few sales that first month, and I made $60.
Welcome back to the Talking Web Marketing Podcast with myself, Ilana Wexler. This is a show where we reveal the best tips, tricks and tactics to increasing your website traffic and then converting that traffic into leads and sales. We also discuss what's working right now in the ever-changing world of web marketing so you can apply it to your business. Welcome to today's episode of Talking Web Marketing. I have a guest today called Phil Ebiner, who is in a little bit of a different industry. He teaches video production online, and he has a bunch of courses online as well as on his own website, and he's become very, very successful doing this. So welcome to today's show, Phil.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here and hope to help inspire and teach everyone that's listening.
Yeah, so exactly. I wanted to get you on because I've been following your work for a little while now, and I'm a fan of your podcast as well. And I know that, I guess you're a student of the industry really yourself and using your own sort of courses as your own example. So I know you can provide a lot of value for us today. And you mentioned before when we were offline that you started from absolutely nothing. And I think for people now, when they see a success story like you, they can be somewhat daunted by the momentum that you've got now. So it wasn't actually all that long ago that you were starting out. So can you give us, I guess, a little bit of background of your background and how you got started?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's only been about 5 years since I started, but compared to maybe a lot of other businesses that people try to start, at least by themselves, I feel like things have ramped up pretty quickly. And now this is my full-time gig. But back in 2012, I had been out of school for a few years and working full-time at different colleges, usually doing video production, video work for them. And I learned about this whole passive income thing through Pat Flynn's blog and different podcasts. And I was always trying to figure out how I could do more stuff like that on my own, just because as soon as I started working for other people, I was always getting the itch to do other things. And I also was in a lot of student loan debt, and I felt like I wasn't making any progress paying that off. And I just know from my family's background that struggling with money, it wasn't something that I wanted to do for the long term. So I was always trying to figure out ways to make a little bit of extra cash on the side, starting a wedding videography business and doing freelance work on the side. And so, yeah, in 2012, I discovered this idea of teaching online classes and put together my first one, teaching exactly what I knew and was passionate about, video editing. And that I put on udemy.com because that was the first place I had heard that anyone could teach online. And luckily, it made a few sales that first month, and I made $60.
Nice.
And from then, I just got addicted to creating online classes and building my own brand. And like you said, I really didn't know what I was doing. I didn't do any of the things you're supposed to do, the keyword research, didn't have an email list that I was building, no sales funnel, no nothing. But I've learned a lot along the way, and now the business is a six-figure business. I'm pretty open with sharing my income, and just because when I was starting out, I was inspired by other people who shared their income and made it feel like it was actually real. And I don't want to make people feel like this is possible for everyone's going to do this, but I think for people who put in the hard work, it's definitely possible. Probably projected to hit the 1 million mark on Udemy in the next year, which is insane.
That is crazy. But I can see on Udemy, you do have 76 courses.
Yeah, that's
which is
great.
Insane.
That people look at that and, that does seem crazy. And the thing I want to remind people is that I quickly learned that I could work with other people to co-create courses that I wasn't maybe the main expert in, and I could kind of leverage other people's expertises, but also my growing brand on the platform to work with them and get more topics, get more courses, be a little bit more efficient at creating courses. But I have 76 published courses. I've probably unpublished 20 or so courses on Udemy that I did for the wrong reasons. I partnered with people and they just weren't really great classes. They weren't in my brand, or just old classes of my own that just the reviews weren't that good. And so they weren't really helping or benefiting me at all. But like I said, I've got addicted to creating online courses, and so I've just been doing it sort of nonstop ever since it started back in 2012.
So let's just go a bit deeper into this whole concept of co-creating. So when you say you collaborate with another instructor, there's obviously an overlap of skills to some degree. How do you go about, deciding who you're going to co-create a course with?
Well, the first people that I created courses with were friends of mine who I knew not in like the online world or the online teaching world. And these were friends who went to college with me and studied film production with me. And so I already knew them. I knew their personalities. I knew what their expertise was. And so most of my courses are with people who I actually know, or most of my co-created courses are with friends of mine in my real life, my not online life. And so that I think is great advice, because it's a lot of people go online and try to find people online, but just the experience of being together, working on a course together, it's fun, and you can really learn how to help other people teach online. And that's one of the things that I've learned, is that not everyone is naturally good at teaching online. I wasn't when I started. It's taken me 50 courses or so before I finally feel like I got a knack for it. But while some of my friends are really good at a specific topic, like more advanced photography skills, more advanced than I would be, they might not know how to explain it the right way to a beginner, which is something that I've kind of learned how to do. So I'll help coach them while we're teaching. So that's one way that I've done it. And then, of course, I've also found other people online who have their own audiences already and created courses with them. And that's a great benefit, because when we launch a course, then we have more of an audience to sell to. And not that that should be the only reason why you co-create a course with someone, but it's definitely a benefit. But like I said, I've done classes where at the end of the class, I realize, or like months later, I'm like, man, that class, like we really weren't doing it to necessarily benefit people. It was more just for, let's just get another course out and let's see how much money we can make from this course that we work on together. So I would try to advise people to listen to your heart and think, are you really doing this for the right reason, or is it just to try to make a little bit of extra money?
Yeah, nice. So if you're going to co-create, do you decide, on the curriculum together, and then you divide up sort of those segments that way, rather than you being in a studio together?
Yeah, so it depends on the course, but we'll, a lot of the times I'll do a lot of the heavy work up front of writing out the outline of the course and structuring it, because I feel like I know how to do that now. And then we'll split up on camera time. Some classes where the other person is definitely more the expert and I'm just kind of I would say, publisher now. I kind of see myself as a publisher of courses. I'll just be sort of behind the scenes more, so I won't even be in the class as much, which I think is definitely a viable thing. One piece of advice is definitely come up with your agreement to what how you split your work while you create the course, and then after the course. Come up with an agreement beforehand, because I've created courses where the other instructor has fallen off the face of the online world, and I'm left having to update the course, answer student questions, and that's fine if you're being paid for it, or the revenue share or whatever it is fair, but that's just something to keep in mind. That I've realized that there's actually more work after you create the course than putting together the course itself.
That was going to be my next question, actually. I'm glad you brought that up.
Definitely got to keep that in mind when you split the revenue.
Yeah, nice. And I guess you also then divide up, because Udemy give you promotional emails and educational ones, etc. So you both would clearly have access to that.
Yeah, so we split up. It's not perfect on Udemy. They don't make it easy to know or sometimes I just overlook, if I've sent a promotional email already that month. Sometimes I end up using both. Sometimes And then my co-instructors will be like, hey, Phil, you used both promo emails last month. What's up with that? And so I'll let them use both the next month. And then some of my co-instructors don't really they don't even like promote on Udemy. They don't have other courses. So they help answer questions and stuff. But for those classes, I kind of am able to use both promo announcements.
Yeah, cool. So which was the first course you started with?
The very first course by myself?
Yeah.
That was and this is another good piece of advice. It was a video editing class, but using a program called Final Cut Pro 7, which was sort of an old version of Final Cut Pro, which is a good video editor. But about 6 months or so after I created that course, they completely redid that whole program, and my class kind of became outdated. And even though I think some people use Final Cut Pro 7 now, because I still get a few people enrolling in that class, it wasn't sort of that evergreen topic that I wish that now I kind of try to create classes on. So when you're creating your first course, try to make it something that will last a bit longer.
Rather than based on a software which is inevitably going to get outdated.
Yeah. Or plan on making those updates when that happens. And that's the cool thing, and one neat thing about the fact that software changes, apps changes, all these things allow new instructors to jump into teaching online and potentially to have a lot of success. I've seen best-selling classes and best-selling instructors who don't update their classes right away get overtaken by new instructors who jump in right when the latest version of iOS or whatever software they're using comes out. So if you are an expert in one of those topics, definitely keep an eye out for when those new updates come out. And if it's a major update, plan on creating a course like right away and getting it live, because it's a great chance for you.
So in that situation, would you recommend unpublishing the now outdated course, or just adding new lectures and keeping that old material there?
Oh, that's a great question. It depends on the software and how it works. I know for some software, for example, I teach a lot of the Adobe products like Photoshop and Premiere Pro for video editing. And a lot of people still use the old versions because they don't want to pay for the upgrades. And especially a lot of people in the international audience get a hold of a copy of an old version of Photoshop. And so for a lot of those classes, I'll leave the old versions up as a separate class, and I'll create a completely brand new course. But there are also some courses where it's more of a general course. I have a big photography class. One of my most popular classes is called the Photography Masterclass. And for years, we've just continued to update that class with new ideas, new topics to make sure it's up to date. But at this point, I'm kind of a fan of doing a complete rehaul and a brand new version of a course, partly because you do have that opportunity to sell it to the students in the current course. And especially on Udemy, when most people pay $10, $15 for a course, I don't usually have a problem when I launch a new version of a course and selling it to the current students, because hopefully by then they've gotten their $10 of value from the old course and are willing to upgrade to the new one. I do have a few students who comment or complain about why they should upgrade or if they have to upgrade, and sometimes I'll just give them a free upgrade so that they're not inclined to leave me a bad review.
Yes.
But that doesn't happen too often.
So by saying an upgrade, you mean an upgrade to a new course entirely rather than the new course?
Yeah, a new course entirely rather than, and I think it depends. If you have a class that's doing really well, has a lot of good reviews, is established in the marketplace for the keywords that you're using for that course, you might want to just update that course because it might take a lot more work to create a brand new course and drive traffic and build reviews and build that sort of SEO juice for that class. But if you have a course that doesn't have as good of reviews, specifically talking about Udemy, if it's below a 4.3 or so, or even if it's below 4.5, you might want to just completely start from scratch.
Yeah, cool. So on to kind of where you've now developed your business, which is bringing, online video school creation on your own platform. Can you kind of run us through how, obviously you would have utilized some of the momentum that you had from Udemy, how you've kind of grown your own platform, because I think that's obviously the holy grail for many business owners, to get off you. I know that's my belief personally. I have Udemy courses and I view it as a traffic source rather than building my business on there, So I too have, full training courses on my own website. Some of the material is on Udemy, not all of it. It's that fine balance, So how have you done that?
Yeah, it's been a difficult process because you have to have traffic and know how to sell your courses to your traffic to be successful on your own platform. And as someone who didn't know how to do that, it's taken me a while to figure it out. I remember when I was just starting, I think it was like a few months into, or maybe 6 months, I had like 3 courses up or something. I was already starting to try to figure out, okay, how could I sell these courses on my own platform, charge a membership fee? And someone gave me, another online teacher kind of shut me down and was like, your classes aren't that great and not many people are going to pay for them, especially you don't have that much content. Maybe when you have like a larger library of content, it might be more valuable. And at the time I was like, that's not fair. Like, I don't know about that. But now looking back, I see his point, and I think that's with the membership model anyways. If you want to sell your classes on your own site individually, it might be a lot easier than a membership model, unless you just have some sort of big following already and people who are already like waiting to pay for something of yours. I've tried everything from charging premium prices for my courses, and that didn't work. I've charged individually for courses, or a lower price for my courses individually, and that works better, similar to what happening on Udemy. Just the price people are willing to pay was between that, $15 and $40 price. But I've always struggled with, how do I promote my courses on Udemy and on my own site? Because people might get confused. And so what I've done is I kind of reconcile that by saying, okay, if you want to pay for the individual course, I'm going to send you to Udemy, because there's benefits to driving traffic to Udemy and your course on Udemy. If your course ranks well on Udemy, they're going to promote your course. You can make a lot of money on Udemy. But if you want to take all of my classes at once, I have my membership, which is only $9 a month. So it's a pretty good deal, I think, for I think I have 50 or so courses in that deal now, or a little, 62 actually, I'm looking at it right now.
So it's kind of like a buffet.
Yeah, so they can take whatever they want. They get all my courses. They get all the future courses as long as they're a member. And that $9 price seems to be working pretty well. It's similar to what Skillshare started out doing. And now I have about 200 people in that. So that's awesome, because it's monthly revenue that I can count on each month. And that's grown. I started that program at the start of the year. So it's been about a year since I started that. And so that's been growing. But yeah, it's kind of taken me a while to figure out what the price point works well for me. I've tried premium products as well, and definitely I know people do it, so it's possible, but it's just a lot more work to figure out the sales funnel and drive people into that sales funnel and then actually make that sale. And I like making easier sales, and so I sell stuff for a really inexpensive price.
Yeah, cool. So before we hit record, you were telling me that you're quite big, well, sort of you invest a lot of time on YouTube. So can you tell us how you've used YouTube to kind of build that following?
Yeah, YouTube is one of my biggest traffic sources. Again, it's not something where I've had like overnight success. It's just been kind of the slow, long grind of being consistent with it. And right after I started creating online classes in 2012, I realized that I did need some sort of brand and identity off of Udemy to build. And so that's when I started Video School Online, and that became my YouTube channel and my website. And so since then, I've been blogging almost weekly and then also posting videos almost weekly or more. I'm not strict to like a schedule. I don't have like Mondays is, a 5-minute video, Tuesdays is another 2-minute video. I don't have a strict schedule like that. I think if I did, I'd probably be growing my channel a lot faster. But basically what I do is just answer people's questions from the classes, the most popular questions that I get in class. I answer those on YouTube. Those tend to be questions that people are searching for already on YouTube. So that's good for SEO. I'll also put free lessons from my courses on YouTube and drive people back to the course. I'll look for, I'll just search for the topic on YouTube and see what other videos are ranking high for that topic, and I'll create my own version of that video. And yeah, like I said, I've just been doing it for 5 years now consistently, and I have 70,000 subscribers. So that's pretty good. And I don't know how many views I'm getting per month, but it's quite a few. I guess my biggest issue, or my biggest, the thing that I did that I won't recommend to people, is that my YouTube channel has always been about all kinds of topics. And so it's about video production, photography, personal finance, business, teaching online, all kinds of stuff. And they always say you should pick a niche and stick to it, and you'll be able to grow your brand faster. And I think if I did that, I would. But that's why I think I'm not getting as many views or subscribers as I could, but I can't be perfect. So I'm too lazy to create multiple YouTube channels.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you're also diluting a lot of stuff. I mean, I can see the merit in creating one sort of theme for a YouTube channel, but I guess there's additional work in managing more assets, really, isn't there?
Yeah. But I'm just doing all the standard stuff, putting links in the top of the description back to articles. For a while,
so that was going to be my question, actually. In each of the video, are you sending them to Udemy, or are you sending them to your platform?
I've changed depending on how I don't know, depending on what I was feeling that month. But sometimes I'm sending them directly to the Udemy course, especially when I launch a course. The goal is to just drive as much traffic to that course as possible, get that those initial reviews, and try to boost that ranking as fast as possible. So I'll use the YouTube description and the YouTube cards to send people back to the Udemy course. For some longer term success, I've just sent them directly to specific lead magnets. Sometimes I promote my monthly membership. So I'm doing kind of a handful of different things, but now I'm doing a lot of driving people to the Udemy courses. I've kind of started doing that. I went away from doing that, and now I'm back to driving people to Udemy. I think we were talking before we started recording, like, it's amazing how this has gone, and sometimes I feel like it's just gonna be I'm gonna wake up from this dream of Udemy, but at this point I'm like, okay, Udemy is what's working, and let me try to have as much success with Udemy as possible. And that's why, compared to a lot of people, I promote actually sending people to your Udemy courses versus just trying to take people from Udemy or just driving people to your own site and your own courses.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I'm the same as you. I've got courses on Udemy. I've got courses on my own site. And truthfully, I never send people to Udemy just because I feel that I'm at the mercy of them. And to be honest, rarely do I update my courses. My prime asset is on my own website, and I make sure all my best content is on my own platform. Like, it's just interesting that you've got a completely different approach, and there's obviously merits in both. It's just interesting to see, we're polar opposites in that respect.
Yeah, and I wish there was I could probably figure out how to do it properly if I wanted to, but I wish there was a better way to split test like this all, because right now if you go to my website and you go to my courses page, they're linked to Udemy, and so same with in my blog articles or on YouTube. I wish I could split test it and have some sort of data that says, okay, you'll end up making more money on Udemy if you drive traffic there or on your own site. The thing about Udemy is there's just so much, there's this intangible that we don't understand, or it's hard to grasp, like how much money do I make because I drive traffic that isn't the result of a direct sale. Like when I drive traffic to my Udemy courses and someone doesn't buy that course, Udemy picks up the ball and they start advertising to that person on Facebook because they pixel all their pages and they pixel all the people visiting those landing pages. So even if I'm driving traffic to my Udemy courses and they don't buy, there's a chance that person's going to end up buying the course at a later date. And then,
my feeling on that is that, yes, in that situation, they have gone to my Udemy course page and they didn't buy, but they might have visited lots of other course pages as well, and then they're showing ads for those other course pages too.
That's true. And that person might end up buying the other course. I guess the other argument to that is that what they've found out, or they've told me, and I know just from being a student and knowing people, students buy lots of courses on the same topic. And so if they're looking at your course, they might buy your course and someone else's in the same topic, or they might be on someone else's page and then your course is recommended. So it's hard to, I think traditionally, and I don't know, most people would say send all your traffic to your own site, but it's hard for me to say that you shouldn't send traffic to Udemy because of the success that I've had doing so.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I know people in my space, they do that too. They send them to Udemy. So I think lots of people do that strategy. It's just not one that I do personally. And I'm obviously interested to hear your motivation and strategy behind it, because it is a fluid thing. And I guess I know for me, like I put my best content on my own asset where I can control, like, I think it was about a year ago, maybe even 18 months ago, Udemy changed their pricing and everyone was this huge uproar in the Udemy instructor community. And I don't want to be at the mercy of that,
Yeah, no, that's true. And you never know. They could change the revenue share tomorrow and, take more money. And then, if you have your courses on your own site and you're just driving traffic to your own site, then you don't really have to care about that much. Yeah. But I think there's a balance. And I think even though I depend on Udemy for a majority of my online course income and I promote a lot of my courses on Udemy, I think at the same time it's so important to be building your own platform and to be building your email list and the stuff that you have more control of just for the long run.
Yeah, totally. So you also mentioned before we hit record that you haven't really dabbled much into paid traffic. So as a paid traffic person and huge advocate, I find that also really interesting.
Yeah. I would love to get some insight from you about like knowing, where I am today, what I would do, because I just have kind of stayed away from paid advertising because at least for driving people to like a sales page, because, I hear that doesn't work. And so I think that
it
maybe
would work for
sending
remarketing.
people to like an email lead or something like that might be a better way to do it. But I don't know. The thing is, I just don't know what I'm doing. So when I log into the Facebook ads panel, I'm like, there's just way too many options. So I don't know. Can I get some advice from you? Like, what is the best way for someone like me who is actually has a decent amount of traffic on my website to grow that traffic or to grow my email list, or really what should be my goal anyways?
Yeah, awesome. Well, if it were me and I was you and I had a lot of traffic to my website, at the very least install both Google and Facebook retargeting pixels, and I would just be doing retargeting first because try lots of different offers and see what offers work best for your retargeting people, obviously excluding the people who have purchased as well. And then so once you get your remarketing or retargeting campaigns profitable and humming along nicely, because that's the thing, is they don't actually cost a lot, those campaigns. Then you can start just building your remarketing lists, because now you've got that end of funnel campaign working, then you just got to populate that funnel. So I would even to start with a really small amount, maybe even just on Facebook, because you can have a lot more ad copy. It's probably a much easier interface for you, and you might be surprised actually how well it works.
And do you think it's better to try different offers, like paid offers, like promoting my membership, or do you mean like more like free lead magnets or something like that?
I'd test both, because you might be surprised that people think, they've read probably a couple of articles of yours, they've probably watched some videos of yours on YouTube, then gone to check out your own website, which is usually the sequence of events. You might find that they are ready to buy rather than forcing them to register for some kind of free lead magnet. They know they already want to buy, and I would definitely test both. Yeah. But definitely, obviously, test some kind of lead magnet, but I guess the point is I wouldn't be too scared to try and make a sale. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's good. And so I'm going to just dig a little bit deeper while I have you. So is there like a good amount of like different, ads that I should test? Like, I don't know, like you always hear like, you should test different audiences, test different ad copy.
Yep.
And that's daunting to me to like feel like, oh, do I need to do like 10 different ads? Do I need to do 2? Is there any sort of, method or price that I should pay for each to see how it works?
put it this way, I reckon you'll get a sense pretty quickly which ads are working and which ads are not working. Just start with 2 and you'll get a sense pretty quickly which one's getting more momentum than the others. And what you'll find, especially if you start with Facebook, is purely because it's social, people will share it. If you write your ad in such a way that is compelling, and as somebody might read it, go, oh, this would be great for my friend who's also in the same industry as me, and they'll share it with their friend and tag their friend, etc. So you'll see engagement metrics like that on ads that are performing well, and then you can just pause the losing ad and try a different split test. And, I would say to also kind of try and write story-based ads as well. I find they work really well, rather than just going straight for the sale or the lead or whatever it is. Tell people your story a little bit, because people buy from people and they love stories, and that's the perfect platform on Facebook because that's what they're there for. It's social. So they would love that, that whatever is just, I don't know your full story, but we've tested this heavily, and like time and time again, the story-based ads with like a lot of ad copy. Like a lot of people think can't have a lot of ad copy in Facebook ads. Also, I've tested this heavily, long copy versus short copy, and almost every time long copy will win, which I never would have thought. I would have thought, oh, people's attention span these days is like a goldfish, they're not going to, but it's almost becomes like a mini landing page, the ad copy, and then it converts really well.
Okay. Well, it's inspiring to hear that, and definitely something maybe in 2018 will be one of my goals, is to really figure that a bit more. Like this year, I've spent a lot of time just redoing my brand, my website, to get a little bit more focused, and I feel like taking it to the next level, and I feel like ads could be a big part of that. I mean, so many people use ads, and there's probably a lot of people that don't know what they're doing and are wasting money, but the big companies are doing it, and the people that seem to be doing well, so it must be working for a good amount of people.
And this is, I guess, the beauty with the paid traffic side of things, is that you don't have to do everything that you can do. Don't go to the supermarket and buy every single product. Go there and you buy a handful of things, and it's the same thing. Like even if you just did retargeting, leveraging your traffic that you are getting, then it costs you obviously, I don't know how much traffic you do get, but most of our retargeting campaigns are really low budget. It's not a lot of money, and the ROI is there. Like most of the screenshots you see of these amazing results from ads are remarketing campaigns.
Okay. Well, I do have the Facebook pixel installed, so
good. That was my next question.
Yeah. I don't have the Google one installed though, so I should do that. But yeah, I have the Facebook one installed, and so I am tracking how much, or getting the people pixeled, so that's good.
Yeah, nice. So, what advice would you give to somebody who, let's say is starting out and they're looking to sort of get into online course creation? What advice would you give a newbie?
Well, I think one big thing is that probably is going to take a while and a lot of work before you're making the amount of money that you want to be making. I think most people see it and they're like, oh, well, I want to do this full time, be making enough money to quit my job or whatever that is. And the truth is that's going to take a lot of work. And so because of that, I'm a huge advocate of picking a niche and a course to start out with that you just truly are passionate about and you love, but also something that you can foresee expanding on with multiple courses and creating an entire brand around. A lot of people start out with courses that they're unable to create a course that is related that they can cross promote with. So pick a topic that you can create lots of courses in, because if you're on Udemy, that's the way that I found to have the most success. There are some people that have a lot of success with the one big masterclass premium course that they sell for a few $100s or $1,000. But for me, that's not what I've had success with. I've had success with lots of courses on Udemy. So pick a course topic that you are truly passionate about, and try not to worry about the quality. The equipment side of things can get really daunting, and I studied film production, so I had that kind of advantage of knowing how it works, knowing how to put it together. And I think that's the hardest thing, is like for people starting out, like creating a high quality video, that is tough. Yes. And so there's a few pieces of equipment that you can invest in that makes it a lot easier, like a USB microphone. You can start out with anything from the Blue Snowball or the Blue Yeti. And then also some sort of screencast, screen recording software. Some people, when you're starting out, if you don't have any money to invest, that's one thing. But a lot of people try to find free apps to kind of put all these things together. But just spend the $100 or $200 to invest in something like ScreenFlow if you're using a Mac, or Camtasia if you're using a PC. And that's going to make the process of recording and editing just so much easier than trying to use 10 different apps to do all that kind of stuff. And just start with something simple, a PowerPoint-based or a slideshow-based course, and just get it up. And you're going to learn a lot just from that process. And join the Facebook groups with all the other online teachers, learn from them, watch other online courses, see what they're doing and what makes their courses so good. Join other people's email lists to see what they're doing with their email lists, and just kind of watch all the other people in your space and especially in your niche, to see what your competitors are doing.
Great advice. Well, I'm mindful of people's time, and you've been very generous with your time and your knowledge. So, Phil, where can people find out a little bit more information about you?
Yeah, there's, three places. You could go to philebiner.com. That's kind of my home base where you can find out a little bit more about me. If you're interested specifically in teaching online, I've got my podcast, the Online Course Masters Show, and you can check that out at onlinecoursemasters.com. And then, like I was mentioning, if you just want to see how I do my things, if you want to see how I write blog articles, put out YouTube videos, that's all at videoschoolonline.com and under Video School Online brand. So on YouTube and Instagram, it's all Video School Online.
Nice. Awesome. Well, Thank you so much for giving up some of your time. And it's been lovely chatting with you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
No worries. Okay, talk to you later. Bye. You have been listening to the Talking Web Marketing podcast. For more information or resources on today's episode, head on over to talkingwebmarketing.com.